Well, good morning. Let's get to it. About the southern half of lower Michigan under a winter storm watch now. That watch really defines when our dangerous, treacherous weather will be for driving. And that winter storm watch goes into effect at noon in the far southern part of Michigan, noon Friday, noon tomorrow, and then 3 p.m. tomorrow for the rest of the southern half of Michigan. And all of those areas go till 2 a.m. on Saturday. So that should show you it's a Friday afternoon, Friday overnight, very early Saturday morning snowstorm. And it's mostly a snowstorm. In the southeast, there will be some precipitation mixed in there that is freezing rain, maybe sleet and rain, but not a significant ice storm, just a light glaze. So that's the good news there. All right, let's get to it and show you what's going on. Right now, we just have a little light snow, not related to this storm system, in the northeast corner of the state. And even here in Frankenmuth, we have some flakes falling out of the sky. Okay, so here's the storm. You can see it. Good morning, Levon Carava. Good morning, Ypsilanti and Kathy Gould. And good morning, Al Gross from Port Huron. Margaret Miller from Sandusky. Look at back in the southwest. It's snowing right now in Tucson, Arizona. That's the storm center. You see these bright white streaks coming out of it. That's the subtropical jet stream. And then there's a polar jet stream, and all of those combine to intensify a storm system. Now, what I'll say about this storm system is it moves along. 12 hours of moderate to heavy snow in the places that will get the moderate to heavy snow. So it's a powerful storm that moves in and moves out. So here's where the winter storm watch is in effect. The blue shaded counties, Bay County, Midland County, Isabella County. Not sure the next county. What is that? And then Mecosta County, where Big Rapids is, and Southridge. So Grand Rapids, you're in the winter storm watch. Saginaw, the whole Saginaw area, all of the Flint area, Ann Arbor, Detroit, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Lansing, all in the winter storm watch area. Again, starting officially is in effect now to warn you about the time period, and it covers the time period of Friday afternoon into early Saturday morning. We'll use the European, and I wrote a post about this, I think earlier this year, about how to understand how the track of the storm center affects you and your amount of snow. And I've always said that for southern half of lower Michigan, the perfect track to be in the swath of heavy snow is for the storm center to track to Toledo or Sandusky, and the European and most of the models now fairly consistent. Still a little bit of, maybe about a 25-mile difference on the models, but the European we know is the best at the track at this time out. Where does it take the storm center? Toledo or Sandusky, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So this is today, and we just have the light snow in the northeast quarter of lower Michigan. This is tonight, and it's good travel. If you have travel planned, getting out tonight and getting south would be a real good idea. And then this is tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. And tomorrow morning at noon, or I guess tomorrow afternoon at noon. Hey, good morning, Alton Gore from Merritt Island in Florida. I don't know where that is. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3, 4, 5 p.m. tomorrow. Storm Center there in east central Indiana. Excuse me. This is 6 p.m., 7, 8, 9. That pretty much tells you. And I think, maybe it's shifted a little bit further south. But that darker blue, that probably shows you the kind of heaviest snow band we'll have, where the amounts are more around 10 inches. And that has been the trend also because of the dynamics, the energy, the engine of the storm system continues to look a little stronger with each round of data. The snowfall totals on the models have inched upward too, from a lot of 6 and 7s to 7 and 8s, and now a lot of 8 and 9s, some 10s. Remember, I'm going to start off with the ensemble forecast for the European. That's 31 different snow forecasts for any one point. So remember what that does. That gives us a good average of all the waverings of the model. It also takes the highest amounts out because it averages them down, and it takes the lowest amounts out and averages them up. But it gives us a real good feel for what's fairly likely for you to get. So we're back to this. We're into Friday night. Now we're at 2 a.m. Saturday, 3 a.m. Saturday, 4 a.m. Saturday, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and it's gone. And I'll go back. Remember I told you Storm Center over Toledo puts the heaviest band in the southeast half of Lower Michigan? Well, right there at 11 p.m. Friday, the Storm Center is right about Sandusky or so. If that were to come back northwest toward Toledo, then everything would slide back to the northwest 25 miles. If it would slide to the southeast, then Detroit, you'd be out of a mix that cuts you a little bit down on snowfall, and you'd be into the heaviest band of snow. So there's still room for it to move, 25 miles this way or that way. So here's the European ensemble mode, like I talked about. I think we call it a 6 to 10 inch snow because I'm real leery about mentioning 11 inches or I can't even say it, because when I say that, you run with it, and that's all you expect is that magical mark, and that's not the case. There will be a lot. This will be a very solid 8-9 inch snow, it looks like. Oh, one other thing I want to point out is I show you some various snowfall total maps. The models are very robust, very smart. Why they haven't figured out this for most of the better models, but all the models use a 10-to-1 snow to liquid ratio, except our model, the GFS, which isn't the greatest model, but it knows how to, when it's wet, it knows how to bring the snow to liquid ratio down some, and when it's cold, it knows how to bring it up. So when you're looking at the European, bear in mind the first half of the snowfall forecast is at 10-to-1, and it's probably not going to be that. It's probably going to be 6 inches of snow or 8 inches of snow to 1 inch of water. It'll be heavy wet snow, so it could overdo by an inch or so, I guess is what I would say. Let me move this up so you could see it a little bit better. Okay. So, there it is. 6 to 10 inches from Grand Rapids to Bay City, all the way through the Thumb, all the way through Flint, Lansing, Jackson. You get down to Ann Arbor, probably the same, but you get a mix somewhere in there, Detroit into Monroe, and that could bring you down into the 4 or 5 inch area. Sarah Burwell, what is the scheduled time to arrive? Approximate time. So noon at the Michigan-Ohio border, noon 1 o'clock, and then by 3 o'clock up to Grand Rapids, Flint, and by 5 o'clock, it's going pretty much everywhere that it's going to go. And also bear in mind that north of the 6 to 10 line, it tapers off and goes to 2 to 4 inches. And by the time you get to Traverse City, it's probably only 2 inches. Brian Campbell works Skipper Friday? Of course it is. Even though half of the day will be okay. How about leave at noon Friday? How does that sound for you? Okay, so European ensemble mode. Let's go to what model I will eventually like the best, the North American model. It's still a little bit out of its wheelhouse, a little far out by about 12, 24 hours, but it does about the same thing, 6 to 10. it's a little bit farther north. It's got a better temperature profile to it, so it can be better than the European. And this is about one more county farther north on the north edge and one county farther north on the south edge, but it's still a 6 to 10 inch snow with some of those isolated, little bit heavier things. But remember, 10 to 1 ratio, so plan on a lot of 8s and 9s. Now, this is this is our GFS model that knows how to do the snow to liquid ratio as it changes through a storm. Oh, by the way, folks are asking about specific things. I gotta go get a truck part. I'm keeping my old Duramax because I don't feel like paying 50, 60, 80 grand for a pickup truck. So I'm running to Ann Arbor real quick, Belleville, get a new truck bed for my truck, and then a body shop guy is going to put that on for me later on. But when I get back, I'm going to write some exact posts using the high resolution models. So I'm using the timing of when the meteorology is good, the little window where I can be out of pocket, as we call it here at MLive, and then I'll be back. So in the afternoon, we'll go over some exact amounts, and I think we're going to do Facebook Lives once again. So we'll kind of hold off on that because it's a general 6 to 10, like Deborah Smith. How much in Midland? 6 to 10. At the moment, with the less accurate models of placement of the exact heaviest, you're more on the 6, 7 than the 10. It's to your south. But let's hold on with that in just a second here. And I lost my screen share. There we go. All right, so this is the US model that really isn't very good, but it does you can see it has about the same story, but it has it just a touch lower because it knows how to do a 6 or 8 inch amount. And I like the human beings. I like us meteorologists. We're still needed because we put them all together and then make a forecast for you. And it's a 7, 8, 9 inch forecast. Grand Rapids to Saginaw Bay City to the Thumb to Midland, all the way down through Flint, all the way to Ann Arbor and Detroit and Monroe on that tapering down area because of the slightly warmer air and the mix in there. What's going on for the next storm? Is it already on the horizon? Yes, it is. Maybe not as much as this. So this is the storm coming through tonight and tomorrow. And then we have a weather system coming through on Monday. Appears to be taking a little bit warmer of a track, keeping the snow in the UP, maybe some rain showers coming through our region. Then we start to get into an odd, colder pattern. We're into late next week. And guess what? Out next weekend, we got more storminess. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Just a couple of questions here. Jennifer Ames. So leave by noon on Friday, basically at the latest, if driving down from Traverse area to downstate. Yeah, that would be all right. You'd get in the first hour of it, maybe depending on how far south you're going. Aranet County, Tim Wood on snow amounts. You're probably, this is going to have a northeast wind, so there could be a little bit of lake enhancement. You're probably 5 to 7 inches in Aranet County. Phyllis Gagnon, how about Muskegon? You are in the winter storm watch area. You're probably also into the 5 to 7 inch. Temperature warm enough to cut down on accumulations near Jackson. Corey Shelton. If it goes to Sandusky, Jackson would be right in the heart of the heaviest snow. So I would say you might have sticky snow for the first 3 hours of it, but we then would have the heavy snow. We never hear about Adrian Tecumseh area, says Amy. Yes, Adrian Tecumseh, you're probably, you're far south. So you're 5 to 7, something like that. Brenda, I'm due to fly back to Detroit Metro Saturday night. Do you think storm will be? Yeah, it's over by 2 a.m., 3 a.m. or so at Detroit Metro. So if they can't get their act together and be back by Saturday night, they ought to close down. There's your forecast to MLive morning weather update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. I'll be back with you this afternoon, and then we'll start to fine tune because we'll probably see all of the models have the low pressure center exactly in the same spot. We'll know if it's shifted north some, south a little bit. We'll know if there's any little what we call mesoscale bands with heavy snowfall. But for right now, just plan on a good old snowstorm, 12-hour snowstorm, middle of the night, mostly Friday night, and Saturday, some sunshine, a fresh blanket of snow, and 35 to 40 degrees. A beautiful early March day on the way. Take care.